Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to Crime Zone. Representatives from California's San Rafael Police Department say that they are searching for a bumbling criminal this week after he broke into the offices of a donut company only to misplace his keys, forcing him to return to the scene of the crime. According to reports, the incident took place between 8 and 8:30 p.m. on July 25th, when the unknown male suspect broke into the corporate offices of Johnny Donuts, located near the intersection of Mitchell Boulevard and Paul Drive. He then began walking in and out of several rooms inside, apparently not knowing what exactly he was looking for. After a short search, the man finally found some cash in a bank bag somewhere in the office, which he stole along with the keys to one of the company's bakery vehicles before leaving. Unfortunately for the suspect, somewhere during his time in the office, he apparently misplaced his keys, forcing him to return to the crime scene to recover them. Much of this was captured on one of the business's security cameras. After retrieving his keys, the burglar finally left for good. While it's unclear how much money the suspect got away with, several reports we came across described the amount as petty cash, so it doesn't seem like it was very much. Also, despite taking the keys to the Johnny Donuts bakery vehicle, the man didn't actually steal the vehicle itself. Though the suspect hardly pulled off the heist of the century, authorities are still hoping to track him down nonetheless, and are now asking for the public's help in identifying him. Anyone with information about the case is encouraged to reach out to the San Rafael Police Department. Authorities in Phoenix, Arizona say that they are searching for a suspected cat burglar this week who apparently fits the description rather literally, after she was captured on video burglarizing a local boutique store while wearing a leopard print onesie. According to reports, the crime was uncovered at around 8 a.m. on July 26th, when the owner of a woman's boutique store called Poor Little Rich Girl was contacted by contractors who informed her that her business had been broken into. The thief had gotten in by shattering the glass door at the store's back entrance. When the owner arrived at the store, she immediately checked the business's surveillance system, hoping that it had caught footage of the culprit. It turned out that it had, but that wasn't all. It turned out that the suspect, believed to be a woman, had chosen a bizarrely literal choice of outfit for the so-called cat burglary, namely, a leopard print onesie, complete with cat ears. She was also apparently wearing a pair of high heels at the time of the crime. The suspect stole a total of 8 handbags from the store before realizing that she had been caught on camera, at which point she fled the scene of the crime. Apparently, the purses were worth a couple of $1,000s in total, though the business owner says that her shattered door will likely cost more than that to repair. Images and video of the bizarre theft have now been posted online in the hopes that the unknown suspect can be identified. Anyone with information about the crime is urged to reach out to the Phoenix Police Department. Representatives from the Dallas Police Department say that they are investigating a bizarre violent incident this week after a 26-year-old man was fatally struck by his own bullet after shooting a woman in the neck. According to reports, the situation began at around 11:30 a.m. on July 30th, when Dallas police received a call about a shooting at an apartment on the 2200 block of Medical District. When officers arrived at the scene, they found the residence that they had been called to empty, with a trail of blood leading from the front door. A short time later, police received a second call, this time about a man and woman who had been found in a vehicle next to a nearby hospital. Both were suffering from gunshot wounds. It was soon determined that the two calls were related. Based on an investigation of evidence at the two crime scenes, as well as the injuries that the man and woman had sustained, authorities now say that they believe that they have figured out what happened. They allege that the man, later identified as 26-year-old Byron Redman, shot the woman in the neck, but that the bullet exited and continued going, striking him in the leg. Ironically, while the woman was reportedly treated for her injuries and released the same day, Redman died from the wound to his leg after being taken to the hospital. Unfortunately, Almost no other details have currently been released about the case, including information about the circumstances that led up to the shooting or the identity of the alleged female victim. At the time of this recording, police say that their investigation continues. Representatives from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department say that a local man is lucky to be alive this week after an unknown suspect tried to shoot him multiple times during a botched armed robbery, but his weapon malfunctioned. According to reports, the terrifying incident unfolded sometime on July 24th, when the victim returned to his home in the city's Sun City Summerlin neighborhood, located on the western edge of Las Vegas. As he was parking his vehicle in his garage, he was suddenly approached by the suspect, who pulled out a handgun and pointed it at him, demanding he hand over his valuables. Rather than cooperate, it appears that the victim's first instinct was to try and get away. He ran across the street towards a neighbor's house, with the gunman following close behind him. As he did, the suspect attempted to fire several shots. We know this because the neighbor whose property the victim ran towards had a surveillance camera, which captured harrowing footage of the incident. In it, the victim appears to be cornered, with the suspect trying to fire his weapon at him multiple times. However, each time, he is unsuccessful. Eventually, the victim runs out of camera view and appears to escape, after which the suspect runs back to his own vehicle and flees the scene. While it's unclear exactly why the suspect's gun failed to fire so many times, several reports that we came across pointed out that in the footage of the incident, the man appears to be wearing something over one of his hands, possibly a plastic bag. Some have suggested that this could have gotten caught in the slide of the gun, causing it to jam. However, this has not been confirmed. At the time of this recording, police are asking for the public's help in identifying the unknown suspect. In addition to images taken from the surveillance video, authorities have also released details about the man's car, which is described as a newer model black sedan with black wheels and tinted windows. Anyone with information about the case is encouraged to contact the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police, or to reach out anonymously through Crime Stoppers. Authorities in the city of Carrollton, Georgia say that a 47-year-old university professor is facing numerous charges this week after a senseless shooting that resulted in the death of an 18-year-old woman. According to reports, the incident began sometime around midnight on July 29th, when an argument broke out between 47-year-old Richard Sigmund and another man at Leopoldo's Pizza, a popular restaurant in the city's Adamson Square. Sigmund, a professor at the local University of West Georgia, was reportedly intoxicated and threatened to shoot the other man at some point during their argument. Taking the threat seriously, the other man reported him to the business's security personnel, who allegedly noticed that Sigmund was armed and told him to leave. Though Sigmund apparently left the pizza restaurant, things turned tragic moments later, when he allegedly pulled out his gun and started shooting in a nearby parking area. That's when 18-year-old Anna Jones, who was sitting in a parked vehicle, was struck by one of Sigmund's bullets. Anna's friends frantically drove her to the hospital, though sadly, she died shortly after her arrival there. Sigmund was quickly arrested. Adding a further layer of tragedy to the whole situation is the fact that Anna had just graduated high school and was supposed to be attending the University of West Georgia, where Sigmund would have been teaching, in the fall. According to her friends and family, Anna also had dreams of becoming a teacher. Sigmund was fired from his job at UWG shortly after his arrest. According to reports, Sigmund is now facing several charges in connection with this week's shooting, including possession of a firearm, aggravated assault, and murder. At the time of this recording, he remains in police custody. While many people almost expect to see a colorful character or two while shopping at Walmart these days, one Florida man still apparently managed to find a way to raise the bar even further this week when he was arrested on DUI charges while inside one of his local stores. According to reports, the whole thing began at around 10 a.m. on July 24th, when police in the city of Melbourne, about 65 miles south of Orlando, were called to a Walmart location on Wickham Road with a report of an intoxicated male shopper. The man in question, 39-year-old Aaron Gregory, was reportedly driving around on one of the store's complimentary motorized scooters and was clearly extremely drunk. He had been witnessed by both security personnel and the store's surveillance cameras swerving down aisles, running into shelves, and knocking over displays, all while narrowly avoiding hitting several people and visibly nodding off while trying to operate the scooter's controls. When police finally caught up with Gregory, he was apparently so drunk that he was barely able to stand on his own, and he was subsequently transported from the store on a stretcher. Officers say that when they looked into the 39-year-old's backpack, which was in the basket of the scooter, they discovered an open bottle of vodka. Because the scooter Gregory was driving at the time of his arrest is considered a motor vehicle under Florida law, he has now been charged with 4 misdemeanors, including driving under the influence, disorderly intoxication, and possession of an open container of alcohol. He is currently being held in the Brevard County Jail in lieu of $3,000 bond. Representatives from the British Columbia RCMP say that 3 people are dead this week, including the gunman, after a 28-year-old man went on a multi-hour shooting rampage in which he allegedly targeted homeless victims. According to reports, the incident began just after midnight on July 25th, when a 26-year-old woman was shot at the Cascades Casino in the city of Langley. The woman was rushed to the hospital and reportedly remains in critical condition. The second shooting took place over 3.5 hours later, when a 60-year-old man named Paul David Wynn was shot at Creekstone Place, a supportive housing project north of the first crime scene in Langley Township. Sadly, Paul would die as a result of his injuries. Just after 5 a.m., police received a call about a third shooting at the Logan Avenue City bus loop back in Langley City. The victim was 43-year-old Stephen FURNESS, who would also tragically die from his injuries. The fourth and final shooting took place at around 5:45 a.m., when a 26-year-old man was shot in the leg near Willowbrook Mall. Shortly after this, an alert was sent out after police realized that all of the shootings were related. The situation finally came to an end around this same time when officers from the RCMP caught up with the suspect, prompting a shootout. During the shootout, the suspect was hit and died from his injuries. Several hours later, investigators identified the shooter as 28-year-old Jordan Daniel Goggins, who lived in Surrey. While Goggins was apparently known to police, reports say that it was not for anything criminally related. Little has currently been released about the 28-year-old, though some neighbors that were interviewed by local media stated that they had observed him acting strangely in the past couple of weeks. While no motive has been officially established at the time of this recording, police have acknowledged that it appears all of the victims targeted were either homeless or living in group homes. The situation is still developing. Representatives from the Detroit Police Department say that they are investigating the tragic and mysterious death of a recent high school graduate this week who allegedly disappeared after attending a party before later being found dead in the basement of a vacant home. According to reports, the case began on July 24th when an 18-year-old man from Grand Blanc named Jacob Hills was reported missing. The teenager had spent the previous day on a boat with his family, during which time he informed them that he would be attending a party in Detroit that night with some friends. When Jacob's family members failed to hear from him the next day, they became concerned and tracked his cell phone. It was found along with his abandoned vehicle in Dearborn Heights, a city located in the west of the Detroit metropolitan area. Though a search for Jacob immediately began at this point, it wasn't long before the case took a chilling turn, when that night, the teenager's father received an anonymous phone call. The caller told him that his son could be found at a residence in Detroit on West Warren Avenue. Sometime between that night and early the next morning, Detroit police investigated the tip and found Jacob's body in the basement of a vacant house where the caller had described. He had been shot numerous times. His shoes and an undisclosed sum of money had had allegedly also been stolen from him. At the time of this recording, many of the details surrounding the case appear to be up in the air, with multiple claims and reports circulating about what happened in the lead-up to Jacob's murder. Much of the confusion seems to be involving a firearm that the teenager had purchased the day before his disappearance, which may or may not have played a role in his death. According to Jacob's family, he purchased a rifle at a gun store in Oakland County on July 22nd, which he is said to have taken with him in his car when he traveled to Detroit. Some reports allege that he was interested in purchasing a second weapon, while others state that he intended to sell the one that he had just bought. In interviews with several media outlets, Jacob's mother claimed that she believes her son had been lured to Detroit by a group of unknown people who intended on robbing him of his money and belongings. However, police have pushed back on this, saying that their investigation has so far indicated that Jacob traveled to the city willingly, and instead encountered some sort of problem during the course of the party he was there to attend. Still, other reports have speculated that Jacob might have been the victim of a gun sale gone wrong. At the current time, it appears that there are more questions than answers about the case, though police say that they have now spoken to at least one person believed to be with Jacob on the night of his disappearance, and are currently searching for one other. The situation is still developing. That's it for this edition of Crimes of the Week. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like and subscribe to Crime Zone for more true crime content like this, making sure to hit the notification bell to stay up to date with our latest releases. Thank you for watching.